The post-Cold War order didn't end with a whimper. It is ending with a date, February 1st, 2026. In the last 24 hours, the geopolitical chessboard has been upturned. We are no longer dealing with rumors. We are dealing with signed executive ultimatums. President Trump has officially set a deadline, February 1st. If the Kingdom of Denmark does not agree to the sale of Greenland, the United States will hit its closest NATO allies, the UK, Germany, France, and the Netherlands, with 10% tariffs, escalating to 25% by June. But that is just the Atlantic front. Simultaneously, in the Middle East, Washington is bypassing the United Nations entirely to form a Board of Peace for Gaza, a pay-to-play governance structure where permanent membership reportedly costs $1 billion. And while the diplomats scramble, the kinetic reality is brutal. Russia has just launched the largest winter drone swarm of the year against Ukraine's energy grid. I'm James Roderick. Today, we are deconstructing the February 1st Convergence, what it means for the alliance structure, the energy markets, and your portfolio. Let's start with the headline that sounds like fiction, but is pure strategic realism. Greenland. President Trump's demand isn't about real estate. It's about the GIUK gap, the naval choke point between Greenland, Iceland, and the UK. Control this, and you control the North Atlantic against Russian submarines. Trump explicitly cited the Golden Dome missile defense system as the driver here. He views Denmark's inability to defend the island, citing their 2 dog sleds for protection, as a forfeiture of sovereignty. Here is the mechanism. On February 1st, a 10% tariff hits a specific list of European allies. This is a direct attack on the EU's economic engine. European leaders like Ursula von der Leyen and Antonio Costa have warned this risks a dangerous downward spiral. Why does this matter? Because it forces the EU to choose. Do they stand with Denmark and face a recessionary trade war? Or do they fracture, with countries like Germany desperate to protect their auto exports, pressuring Copenhagen to cut a deal? My assessment: the Atlantic Alliance is moving from a partnership of values to a transaction of security. While Washington plays economic hardball, Ukraine is fighting for thermodynamic survival. Over the weekend, Russia launched over 200 drones, Shaheds, Gerberas, and jet-powered variants, targeting energy nodes in Sumy, Kharkiv, and Odessa. President Zelensky has declared an energy emergency. We are seeing power cuts to 200,000 homes in Russian-occupied Zaporizhia alone, proving that the grid failure is now indiscriminate. The timing is critical. Zelensky's team is in Miami right now, negotiating a post-war framework with U.S. officials. Putin knows this. This drone swarm is designed to create maximum leverage. Force Ukraine to negotiate from a position of cold and darkness. If the grid collapses before the February 1st diplomatic window, the terms of peace will be dictated by Moscow, not Miami. Now, look at the Middle East. The U.S. president has invited Prime Minister Modi of India, Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan, and Giorgia Meloni of Italy to join a new Board of Peace for Gaza. This is the death knell of the UN Security Council's relevance in the region. This board is described as a bold new approach to global conflict. Reports suggest a pay-to-play model, where countries secure permanent seats with a $1 billion contribution towards reconstruction. This is the Roderick Doctrine in action, the privatization of geopolitics. Washington is outsourcing the security and funding of Gaza to a coalition of the willing and the wealthy. For India, this is a seat at the high table. For Pakistan, it's a lifeline. For the markets, it means the reconstruction of Gaza will be a massive infrastructure play, if the ceasefire holds. Now, how do we trade this chaos? The markets are pricing in inflationary conflict. 1. Bond yields. The U.S. 10-year Treasury is up to 4.23%. The market is scared. It sees tariffs, inflationary, and fiscal expansion, Trump's spending, and is demanding a higher premium. This is capping the upside for everything else. 2. The oil paradox. WTI crude is sitting at $59.40 despite the Middle East tension. Why? Because the U.S. has quietly allowed Venezuela to flood the market with 50 million barrels to offset Iranian risk. This is strategic supply management, keeping your gas prices low while the world burns. 3. The Taiwan trade. The one bright spot is the U.S.-Taiwan trade deal, $250 billion in investment. Semiconductors, TSMC, Micron, are the new defense stocks. If you want exposure to the U.S. industrial base, you look at the chip fabricators building in Arizona, not just the missile makers. 4. Gold. Gold should be at $5,000 with this news, but it's stuck at $4,600. Why? Because high bond yields are sucking the oxygen out of the room. Cash pays 4.5%. Gold pays 0. Until the Fed cuts rates, gold is fighting gravity. Tomorrow, President Trump lands in Davos. He is bringing the largest U.S. delegation in history to the World Economic Forum. He is walking into a room filled with the very Europeans he just threatened with tariffs. Expect fireworks. My prediction? Trump will use the Davos stage to offer a deal. He will drop the tariffs if Europe aligns 100% with U.S. policy on China and Iran. Here is what to watch in the next 72 hours. The retaliation. Does the EU announce counter tariffs before Feb 1st? If yes, short the euro. The grid. If Kyiv goes fully dark, expect a spike in European natural gas, TTF. The Fed chair. The market is nervous about who Trump picks to replace Powell. If it's a loyalist like Hassett, yields will scream higher. Conclusion? We are witnessing the synchronization of economic warfare and kinetic warfare. The map is being redrawn, not by treaties, but by tariffs and drones. The old world order waits for permission. The new order sets a deadline. February 1st is coming. Make sure your portfolio is hedged for the volatility. I'm James Roderick. Stay strategic.